Promises are powerful. They build trust, define character, and shape destinies. In life, we often underestimate the weight of our words. But what happens when promises are broken? This is the story of the Pied Piper of Hamelin, a tale that reminds us of the consequences of dishonesty and the importance of integrity. Let's dive into this timeless legend and uncover its valuable lessons. Once upon a time in the town of Hamelin, the people faced a terrible problem: rats. The streets were filled with them, invading homes, stealing food, and causing havoc. No matter what the townspeople did, the rats multiplied. Desperate, the town's mayor announced that anyone who could rid Hamelin of the rats would be rewarded with a large sum of gold. One day, a mysterious man arrived. He was dressed in vibrant, multicolored clothes and carried a simple flute. He introduced himself as the Pied Piper and claimed he could remove the rats with his magical music. Skeptical yet desperate, the mayor agreed to pay him handsomely if he succeeded. With a confident smile, the Pied Piper began to play his flute. A mesmerizing tune filled the air, and something incredible happened. The rats emerged from every corner, enchanted by the music. They followed him through the streets, down to the river, where they plunged in and drowned. The town was finally free from the infestation, and the people rejoiced. But when the Pied Piper returned to collect his reward, the mayor and the townspeople refused to pay the full amount. They mocked him, saying his task had been too easy. Furious at their broken promise, the piper warned them of consequences, but they laughed and dismissed him. Determined to teach the town a lesson, the Pied Piper lifted his flute once more. A new melody floated through the streets, and something chilling happened. The children of Hamelin, enchanted by the tune, began to follow him. One by one, they marched behind him, leaving their homes, their parents, and their town behind. The piper led them to a mountain, and as he played his final note, the children vanished, never to return. Hamelin was left in sorrow, their town silent, their joy stolen, all because they broke their promise. So, friends, the story of the Pied Piper is a powerful reminder that promises are not meant to be broken. Integrity and honesty shape our reputation and define who we are. The mayor and the people of Hamelin chose greed over gratitude, and in return, they lost what was most precious: their children. This teaches us that dishonesty has consequences, and trust, once lost, is difficult to regain. In our own lives, we must remember: keep your word, honor your commitments, and value integrity above all. What we give to others comes back to us, whether good or bad. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like and share it with others. Let's spread the message of honesty and integrity so that we can all build a world where trust and fairness prevail. In a peaceful little village, there lived a kind and curious girl named Red Riding Hood. She was known for her bright red cloak and her heart full of love. One day, her mother gave her a special task: to take food to her sick grandmother deep in the forest. "Remember, my dear, be careful and stay on the path," her mother warned. Red Riding Hood nodded eagerly, excited for the journey. But little did she know, this adventure would teach her a lesson she would never forget. As Red Riding Hood walked through the forest, she was mesmerized by the beauty of nature. Birds chirped, flowers bloomed, and a soft breeze whispered through the trees. Then out of nowhere, a cunning wolf appeared. "Where are you going, little girl?" the wolf asked, pretending to be friendly. Red Riding Hood, innocent and trusting, told him about her journey to her grandmother's house. The wolf, with his sly grin, had an idea. He tricked her into taking the long way, filled with distractions, while he took a shortcut to reach her grandmother's house first. By the time Red Riding Hood arrived, something felt off. The door creaked open, and inside she saw her grandmother lying in bed. But something wasn't right. "Grandmother, what big eyes you have," she said nervously. "The better to see you with, my dear," the wolf replied. "Grandmother, what big ears you have. The better to hear you with. Grandmother, what big teeth you have. The better to eat you with," the wolf roared, jumping towards her. But this time, Red Riding Hood was prepared. She had listened to her mother's advice about being cautious. Instead of panicking, she quickly grabbed a nearby chair and threw it at the wolf, buying herself time to scream for help. A brave woodcutter nearby heard her cries and rushed in, scaring the wolf away. Red Riding Hood had learned a powerful lesson. Not everyone who seems kind has good intentions. It's important to trust your instincts and be alert. Last but not the least, courage and quick thinking can save you in difficult situations. She hugged her real grandmother, grateful to have made it in time. From that day on, she became wiser, always listening carefully and staying aware of her surroundings. Red Riding Hood's story reminds us all that life is full of wolves disguised as friends. Stay smart, stay strong, and trust your instincts. If this story inspired you, like and share it with your friends. Let's spread wisdom and courage together. Life is a journey of choices. We all face temptations, distractions, and moments where the truth seems too difficult to tell. But in the end, it is our honesty, courage, and determination that shape who we become. This is the story of Pinocchio, a wooden puppet who dreamed of becoming a real boy. His journey teaches us the power of truth, responsibility, and personal growth. Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived a kind and lonely carpenter named Geppetto. He longed for a son and carved a beautiful wooden puppet, naming him Pinocchio. One night, a magical blue fairy granted his wish. She brought Pinocchio to life. But there was one condition. Pinocchio could only become a real boy if he proved himself to be brave, truthful, and selfless. To guide him, the fairy assigned a tiny, wise cricket named Jiminy Cricket as his conscience. Pinocchio was eager to explore the world but soon found himself making bad choices. Instead of going to school, he was lured by dishonest characters. Honest John and Gideon, who tricked him into joining a puppet show run by the greedy Stromboli. Pinocchio became famous, but Stromboli locked him up. The blue fairy appeared and asked him what happened, but Pinocchio lied, and his nose grew longer. This was his first lesson. Lies only lead to trouble. The fairy forgave him, and with Jiminy's help, he escaped. But Pinocchio didn't learn his lesson yet. He got tempted again, this time by Pleasure Island, a place where boys did whatever they wanted with no rules. He joined a mischievous boy named Lampwick, enjoying fun and games, but soon realized the horrible truth. All the boys were turning into donkeys because of their bad behavior. Pinocchio barely escaped but learned another lesson. Shortcuts and reckless fun can lead to disaster. After these painful experiences, Pinocchio returned home, only to find out that Geppetto was missing, swallowed by a giant whale named Monstro. Now, instead of running away from responsibility, Pinocchio showed true bravery. He dived into the ocean to save his father. Inside Monstro's belly, Pinocchio used his wits and courage to start a fire, forcing the whale to sneeze them out. But, in the struggle, he sacrificed himself to save Geppetto. His selflessness and bravery proved that he had changed. The Blue Fairy saw this act of true goodness and finally rewarded him. Pinocchio became a real boy. Pinocchio's journey teaches us powerful life lessons. Honesty is always the best policy. Lies only lead to trouble and loss of trust. Then shortcuts and temptations may seem fun, but they often lead to disaster. Success requires discipline and responsibility. Remember, true growth comes from learning from our mistakes. Pinocchio fell many times, but he never gave up. Last but not the least, real bravery is doing the right thing, even when it's hard. Pinocchio's courage to save Geppetto proved he had a good heart. Just like Pinocchio, we all make mistakes. But those mistakes don't define us. Our choices do. When we take responsibility, learn from our failures, and strive to be better, we transform into the best versions of ourselves. Believe in yourself, stay truthful, be courageous, and never stop growing. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and spread the message. In the kingdom of Eldoria, where golden fields met towering emerald forests, lived Princess Evelyn, a kind-hearted, intelligent, and courageous young woman. Unlike the other princesses who spent their days in ballrooms and gardens, Evelyn dreamed of adventure, knowledge, and discovering the secrets of the world beyond her castle walls. Despite her royal status, she felt trapped in a life of expectations. Her father, King Aldrich, believed that a princess's duty was to marry a noble prince and ensure the kingdom's prosperity. But Evelyn had other dreams. She wanted to explore, to understand the magic that whispered through the ancient trees and sparkled in the stars above. One night, as she sat by her window, she noticed a glowing light floating beyond the castle gates. A soft voice seemed to call her name. Drawn by curiosity and an unshakable feeling, Evelyn decided to follow it. Dressed in a simple cloak to disguise herself, she snuck out of the castle and followed the light deep into the mystical Eldorian woods. After hours of walking, she reached the enchanted lake, a place rumored to hold ancient wisdom. The water shimmered with a golden glow, reflecting stars that had yet to appear in the sky. There, she met an old woman cloaked in silver robes, the guardian of the lake. "You seek answers, child," the woman said, her voice gentle but knowing. "But wisdom is earned, not given." She pointed to the lake. "This water reveals the greatest truth of one's heart. But to see it, you must face your deepest fears." Evelyn hesitated. She had always been afraid of disappointing her father, of failing as a princess. But she took a deep breath, gathered her courage, and stepped forward. As she gazed into the lake, ripples formed, and suddenly, she was no longer standing by the shore. She was inside a vision of the future. In the vision, she saw two versions of herself. One version was sitting in a grand palace wearing a crown but looking deeply unhappy. She had married as expected, lived a life of luxury, yet felt empty inside. She had ignored her heart's calling and never pursued her true purpose. The other version was standing in the middle of the kingdom, surrounded by people. She was not just a princess, she was a leader, an explorer, and an inspiration. She had followed her heart, learned from the world, and brought back knowledge that helped her people. She looked strong, fearless, and truly happy. Evelyn gasped. She realized that her greatest fear wasn't failing as a princess. It was failing herself by not following her destiny. The vision faded, and Evelyn found herself back at the lake. The old woman smiled knowingly. "You have seen the truth," she said. "Now you must choose. Will you let fear decide your path, or will you create your own destiny?" Evelyn clenched her fists with newfound determination. She knew what she had to do. She returned to the kingdom, but not as the same princess who had left. She spoke to her father with confidence, telling him of her dreams, of the knowledge she wanted to gain, and of how she could serve the kingdom in a way no one had before. King Aldrich, moved by his daughter's strength and wisdom, finally understood. Instead of forcing her into a marriage, he gave her his blessing to explore, learn, and return when she was ready to lead. Years passed, and Evelyn became the greatest queen Eldoria had ever seen. She traveled across lands, learned from different cultures, and brought back wisdom, trade, and innovation. She proved that a princess's duty wasn't just to sit on a throne, it was to inspire, to lead, and to make a difference. She became a symbol of courage, knowledge, and self-belief. And so the kingdom flourished, not because Evelyn followed the traditional path, but because she dared to carve her own. So friends, always remember that your path in life should be chosen by you, not by fear or the expectations of others. The courage isn't just about fighting battles, it's about standing up for your own dreams. Last but not the least, true. Happiness comes from following your heart, even when the road is uncertain. If you believe in following your dreams fearlessly, like and share this story to inspire others.
Once upon a time, in a small cottage at the edge of a village, lived a young boy named Jack and his widowed mother. They were poor, and their only source of income was a cow named Daisy. When Daisy stopped giving milk, Jack's mother decided they had no choice but to sell her. Early one morning, Jack took Daisy to the market. On his way, he met an old man who offered him 5 magical beans in exchange for the cow. The old man promised these beans will grow into something extraordinary. Although hesitant, Jack agreed, enchanted by the man's mysterious words. When Jack returned home with the beans instead of money, his mother was furious. "You traded our only cow for beans?" she cried, tossing them out the window in frustration. That night, they went to bed hungry and worried about their future. But by morning, Jack awoke to an incredible sight: a giant beanstalk that stretched high into the clouds. Overcome with curiosity, Jack decided to climb it. As he reached the top, he discovered a magnificent land above the clouds, home to a massive castle. Cautiously, Jack ventured inside and found a room filled with treasures: golden coins, a magical harp, and a hen that laid golden eggs. Jack realized these treasures could end his family's struggles. However, the castle belonged to a fearsome giant who roared, "Fee, fee, fo, fum! I smell the blood of an Englishman." Terrified, Jack hid until the giant fell asleep. Then he quickly grabbed a bag of gold and climbed down the beanstalk. Jack and his mother used the gold to buy food and repair their home. But their money eventually ran out. Jack decided to climb the beanstalk again. This time, he took the hen that laid golden eggs. It provided them with endless wealth, but Jack wasn't satisfied. On his third visit, Jack took the magical harp. Unfortunately, the harp let out a loud cry, waking the giant. "Thief!" the giant bellowed, chasing Jack to the beanstalk. Jack climbed down as fast as he could, the harp in tow. The giant followed, but as soon as Jack reached the ground, he grabbed an axe and chopped the beanstalk. With a mighty crash, the beanstalk fell, and the giant tumbled to the ground, never to rise again. Jack and his mother were safe. The harp and the hen provided them with a comfortable life, but Jack learned an important lesson. Jack realized that curiosity and courage can lead to great rewards, but they must be tempered with responsibility and gratitude. Greed nearly brought disaster, teaching Jack the importance of valuing what he already had and making wise decisions. From that day forward, Jack and his mother lived happily, using their newfound fortune to help others in need, ensuring their blessings brought joy to more than just themselves.
Once upon a time, in a lush green valley, lived a goat named Bella. Bella was strong, swift, and had the most beautiful white coat in the herd. She often bragged about her beauty and speed, looking down on the other animals. One sunny day, Bella wandered to a steep hill where a narrow wooden bridge crossed a deep river. As she reached the bridge, she saw an old, tired donkey trying to cross from the other side. "Step aside," Bella demanded arrogantly. "I'm the most important animal here, and I must cross first." The donkey pleaded, "Please let me pass, Bella. I'm carrying heavy sacks of grain for the village. If I don't deliver them, everyone will go hungry." But Bella scoffed, "That's not my problem. I won't wait for anyone." She charged onto the bridge, pushing past the donkey. The wooden planks creaked and groaned under their combined weight until suddenly, crack! The bridge broke, and both Bella and the donkey tumbled into the cold, rushing river below. The donkey, though tired, managed to swim to the shore, saving himself and the sacks of grain. Bella, however, struggled against the current and had to be rescued by her herd. Soaking wet and shivering, Bella realized her pride and selfishness had not only endangered herself but had also almost caused a disaster for the village. From that day forward, Bella learned to be humble and considerate of others, earning the respect of the valley's animals. So friends, what we have learned from this story is that pride can lead to downfall. Bella's arrogance caused her to act recklessly, putting herself and others in danger. It's the selfishness that hurts everyone. By ignoring the donkey's plea, Bella endangered not just herself but also the well-being of the village. Remember, kindness earns respect. Bella learned that being considerate and humble earns admiration far more than boasting or selfish behavior. It's the teamwork which overcomes obstacles. If Bella and the donkey had worked together, they could have crossed the bridge safely, showing the value of cooperation. Last but not the least, humility is strength. True greatness comes from treating others with respect and understanding, not from showing off. So my dear friends, it's the pride and selfishness that may give you a fleeting sense of superiority, but true strength lies in humility and kindness. When we respect others and work together, we achieve far greater things than we ever could alone. Be the person who uplifts others, not one who pushes them aside. Remember, real greatness shines brightest through acts of compassion and understanding. If you enjoyed this story and found it inspiring, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories, and share it with your friends. Your support keeps us going. Thank you.
Once upon a time, in a lush green forest, there lived a family of 3 bears: Papa Bear, Mama Bear, and Baby Bear. They lived in a cozy little cottage filled with warmth and love. One morning, they decided to take a walk while their breakfast. Porridge cooled down. Not far from their home, a little girl named Goldilocks, full of curiosity and adventure, wandered into the woods. She had a habit of acting first and thinking later, which often got her into trouble. Soon she stumbled upon the bears' charming cottage. Knock, knock, no answer. Without hesitation, she pushed the door open and walked inside. In the kitchen, she found 3 bowls of porridge. Hungry and excited, she tasted the first one. "Ouch, too hot," she cried. The second bowl was too cold. But the third bowl? Ah, just right. She ate it all up with a satisfied smile. Feeling tired, she walked into the living room and saw 3 chairs. The first was too hard, the second too soft, but the third was just right, until it broke under her weight with a loud crack. Yawning, Goldilocks climbed the stairs and found 3 beds. The first was too firm, the second too lumpy, but the third was just right. Before she knew it, she was fast asleep. Meanwhile, the bear family returned home. They immediately noticed something was wrong. "Someone's been eating my porridge," said Papa Bear. "And mine," said Mama Bear. Baby Bear whimpered, "Someone ate mine all up." As they moved through the house, they found their chairs disturbed, and finally, in the bedroom, they saw Goldilocks still asleep in Baby Bear's bed. She woke up with a start, saw the 3 bears staring at her, and screamed. In a flash, she jumped out of bed and dashed out of the cottage, never looking back. Goldilocks realized that being curious is wonderful, but making choices without considering consequences can lead to trouble. From that day on, she learned the importance of respecting others' belongings, making thoughtful decisions, and finding the right balance in life. So friends, in life, we often face choices that are too much or too little, whether it's work, relationships, or goals. But with patience and self-awareness, we can always find what's just right for us. Remember, balance is key to happiness and success. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and inspire others to find their own perfect balance in life. Deep in the heart of a lush green jungle, there lived a monkey named Milo. He wasn't just any monkey. Milo had a heart as big as the jungle itself, always eager to help anyone in need. His days were filled with swinging from trees, sharing bananas, and bringing smiles to everyone he met. One sunny morning, as Milo was munching on his favorite fruit, he heard a loud cry. It was Berry the parrot, frantically flapping her wings near a tree stump. Milo quickly swung over. "What's wrong, Berry?" he asked, tilting his tiny red hat. "My chick has fallen into a hollow log and I can't get her out." Berry squawked in panic. Milo didn't waste a second. "Don't worry, I'm on it," he said, his voice full of determination. He quickly called on his jungle friends. With Ellie the elephant's long trunk, Toby the tortoise's steady persistence, and Milo's clever thinking, They worked as a team to roll the log and rescue Barry's chick. The little one chirped happily as Barry hugged her baby, tears of gratitude in her eyes. "That's what friends are for," Milo said with a smile, flipping a banana to Barry. Always here to help. But Milo's adventures didn't stop there. Later that week, the jungle held its annual bake-off. Milo decided to bake his famous banana pancakes, but when he saw young Timmy the tiger struggling to bake cookies, he paused. "Hey, Timmy, need a hand?" Milo asked. Timmy hesitated. "But you'll miss your own chance to win," Milo chuckled. "Winning isn't everything. Let's make sure you enjoy this." Together, they baked gooey chocolate chip cookies, and though Milo didn't win the bake-off, the joy on Timmy's face was the real prize. As word of Milo's kindness spread, the jungle animals couldn't stop talking about him. One day, a wise old owl perched on a high branch and said, "Milo, why do you always put others before yourself?" Milo smiled, scratching his head. "Because when you help others, the jungle becomes a happier place. It's not about what you get, it's about what you give." The animals nodded, inspired by his words. And from that day, the jungle was filled with acts of kindness. Everyone learned that helping others not only made the jungle a better place, but also brought a happiness money couldn't buy. So friends, the next time you feel stuck or see someone in need, remember Milo's golden rule. A little kindness goes a long way. You never know how much you can brighten someone's day with even the smallest gesture. If this story warmed your heart and made you smile, don't forget to like and share it. Let's spread Milo's message of kindness to every corner of the world. Once upon a time, in a small village surrounded by dense forests, there lived a little girl named Lily. Lily had a heart full of kindness and love for all the creatures around her. Every day she would walk through the village, feeding birds, petting rabbits, and caring for the stray dogs. Her dream was to one day have a sanctuary where all animals could live happily and safely. But there was one thing Lily had always been afraid of: bears. The villagers spoke of the great big brown bear that lived deep in the forest, a creature so large and strong that no one dared venture too close to its territory. One sunny afternoon, as Lily played with the town's puppies, a rumble echoed through the village. The earth trembled slightly, and the trees began to shake. Lily's heart raced with fear. She turned around to see a huge brown bear emerging from the forest, its fur glistening in the sunlight, its massive paws thundering on the ground. Villagers screamed and scattered in all directions, afraid for their safety. But Lily stood still, her eyes wide, not with fear, but curiosity. Maybe this bear just needs help, she thought to herself. She remembered what her grandmother had always told her. Sometimes bravery is simply choosing to believe in kindness, even when it seems impossible. As the bear neared, Lily took a deep breath. She walked slowly toward it, her feet crunching softly on the ground. The bear paused, its dark eyes meeting hers. For a moment, time seemed to stand still. Lily spoke softly, "You don't have to be afraid of me. I promise I'll help you if you need it." To the surprise of everyone watching, the bear knelt down, as though it understood her words. The village elder, who had seen many bears in his time, watched in disbelief as Lily stepped closer to the great creature. Lily noticed something strange. The bear was injured, a large thorn stuck in its paw. Without hesitation, she knelt down and gently removed the thorn, speaking softly to the bear the whole time. The bear groaned in pain, but Lily stayed calm and patient, reassuring the bear that it would feel better soon. After the thorn was removed, the bear stood up and shook its massive head. It looked at Lily, and for the first time, the villagers saw its eyes soft with gratitude. The bear let out a low growl that, to everyone's amazement, sounded more like a thank you than a warning. From that day on, the bear never harmed the village. It would visit now and then, but only to be near Lily, who had shown it kindness when everyone else had been afraid. The villagers learned a valuable lesson from Lily's bravery. Sometimes facing our fears and choosing kindness can change everything. and so Lily's dream of helping animals grew. She started her sanctuary, where animals of all kinds found a safe and loving home. The bear would often visit, a reminder that kindness can melt even the hardest hearts. So friends, always remember that bravery isn't about being fearless. It's about choosing to act with kindness and love, even when faced with fear. If you believe that kindness can change the world, like and share this story. Let's spread love and courage everywhere we go.